Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock on a Monday. It's time for a 5x5. This is where I take 5 subjects related to magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each subject and then I move on to the next subject. It's always quick, it's always snappy, you never know what you're going to get. Now this week, I'm going to be talking about the Magic Cafe. Anybody who's watched this channel for the last 3 years will know that I have a love-hate relationship with the Magic Cafe. I do think that sometimes the Magic Cafe is one of the most toxic places that I have ever had the misfortune of actually being at. However, there's other times where I think that the Magic Cafe is actually pretty freaking cool. And I still think that there's people on the Magic Cafe that aren't particularly nice. I've got into more arguments on the Magic Cafe than anywhere else. Now, true, I am argumentative at the best of times, but I know many creators that have stayed away from the Magic Cafe. It's like banging your head against a brick wall. The first thing, the amount of negativity I get on the Magic Cafe is just insane. So, I've had this love-hate relationship with it. But I'm all about positivity. I'm namaste as fuck these days. I'm all about positivity. And I kind of sat down and I thought, wouldn't it be a really cool video if I gave 5 reasons why going on the Magic Cafe is the right thing to do, why being on the cafe is actually good. 5 reasons that you might not have thought of before. And so that's what I've done on this video. I sat down and I thought about it and I thought, right, okay, what does the cafe provide that other places can't provide? And I've come up with 5, and I think they're really good reasons as to why you should be a member of the Magic Cafe. Now, this is only my opinion. You might never want to go on the Magic Cafe, and I can understand why you wouldn't, because there is a certain amount of toxicity there. All of the crazy stuff that's happened to me, whether it be New Guy, Michael Webber, Luke Dancy, it's all, the hub of all of that crap has been the Magic Cafe. But it does have certain advantages being a member. And I'm going to go through those now. So this week's video is 5 reasons why you should use the Magic Cafe, and 5 ways that you can use the Magic Cafe to make you a better magician. So the first thing that I want to say is the Magic Cafe has been going for a very long time. There is a wealth of knowledge on the Magic Cafe. There really is. The first thing that I can say is, if you want to know about something, a good place to start looking is the Magic Cafe. I don't know how long it's been going, 15, 20 years? You've had, back in the day, some of the biggest names in magic would post on there on a very regular basis. So if you want to know about a trick or what people thought about that product when it first came out, you can go way back, years and years back, and you can check that out. A lot of the time, if I'm researching into something, like let's say I'm bringing out a trick and I need to research into everything that's been done before it so that I get the crediting correct or whatever it may be, if you go into Google and you type in, I need to know about this Magic Cafe, it's going to come up with hundreds of links to various different threads on the Magic Cafe. Somebody mentioned a trick to me the other day. And I'd never heard of this trick before. It came out like 15 years ago, and there were no videos about it. It wasn't available to buy anymore. And I searched it up on the Magic Cafe, and there was like an 8-page thread when it first came out, with everybody talking about it and what it was and what it does, and the creator was chiming in there. And that's one of the big advantages for the cafe. It is a massive resource, a huge resource. Now you have to go through the crap. So like if you find a 40-page or a 40-page thread about a particular thing that you're looking into, 80% of it is just going to be just drizzle. However, you're going to find some real gold there. So the first reason that I would say to anybody watching this for joining the Magic Cafe and using the Magic Cafe, it is an incredible resource, an absolutely incredible resource. It's almost like a time capsule from 20 odd years ago. It really is almost like a time capsule from 20 odd years ago. And you can see how people's perceptions and people's attitudes to magic have changed. It's kind of fascinating. I've talked about this before. One of my favorite things is to come down here. I'm filming this currently in my man cave. And over there on the bookshelf, I have every single abracadabra that's ever been written. And I love coming down here and just opening an abracadabra from the 1960s, the 1950s, and just reading it and just like looking at attitudes to. I was last night, a couple of nights ago, I came down here and I was just opening up to a random page, and there was an article about this guy who was talking about how he's got the perfect double lift, and it was like a 5-page story about why he's got the perfect double lift. And I'm like, this is the same thing that we talk about now, and this is in the 1960s. I also find it really funny that these days everybody talks about exposure, and oh my God, this is the magic's in a terrible place. And people were saying that in the 1960s. Oh, it's in a terrible place compared to where it was. This is not about abracadabra. This is about the Magic Cafe. But you can kind of get that same thing from going back and looking at the old Magic Cafe threads and going back in time and seeing how people interacted on them and their views on magic and, 20 years ago versus now. So, yeah, the first thing that I would say is the Magic Cafe is a great resource if you're researching something. It's a great resource, and we're going to expand on that in the next point. Okay, so the next reason the Magic Cafe is awesome is because it can help you find a trick that's unique to your act that nobody else is doing. And this is a huge tip that I'm going to give you right now. So, we've talked on this channel about new tricks coming out all the time. Every day there's 20 or 30 new tricks coming out. And everybody races to buy that new trick. So everybody's doing it, right? There's nothing unique about a new trick that comes out unless it's priced very highly. Like Mark Lemon's new thing that's coming out will be quite exclusive because very few people will have it because of the price. But generally, as a rule, things are, when something comes out, everybody's going to grab it. Now, you can put your own spin on it. That's absolutely fine. But the best way to have a unique act, the best way to offer something unique to your clients and the people that you're performing for is by doing magic that nobody knows. Now, the thing with magic, and the reason I do my hidden gems on this channel is because a lot of the time, what's old is new. New people come into magic all of the time. And it's very rare for a trick to come out and be that trick that everybody is talking about forever. Like, it's a mainstay. So it's like, Cartoon is a perfect example of something that's a mainstay. It gets recommended to everybody. It's timeless. It's been out for years. Thumb tips, invisible decks. There's certain things that are timeless. But a lot of tricks that come out, it'll come out, people will buy it, and then it won't get reprinted. And, 3 or 4 years later, although there's probably stock still in Murphy's and you can buy it from places like Penguin Magic, nobody wants to buy it or nobody even knows about it because it doesn't exist anymore, because nobody's talking about it, because everyone's talking about the next best thing. It's a fact. New tricks come out all the time, and 2 months later, nobody's going to be talking about them because there's new things that everyone's going to be talking about. So the way to make your act unique and the way to put magic into your act that nobody has done before is by trying to find these props from years gone by that are still available now, that were amazing back in the day, and yet you don't see anyone else doing them because they've been lost in the sands of time. And the huge tip that I'm going to share with you right now is to go back a decade or so on the Magic Cafe on the latest and greatest forum and go through the pages and find a thread that's like 10 pages or more. Because those are the products that people were talking about back in 10 years ago. If you go back 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, and you go through the latest and greatest forum and you find a trick that's like 15 pages long, that's something that created a buzz 15 years ago. And it probably created a buzz for good reason, because it's good or it looks good. You never have a 15-page thread for a trick that looks shit. Nobody will talk about it, unless it's controversial. Like Red, I think, had 30 or 40 pages. But that was because the controversy that surrounded it. It wasn't necessarily about the trick itself. So normally you find a trick where it's got a 10 or a 15-page thread or more. There's going to be a buzz about it. Now, you don't know whether it's any good or not, but guess what? The thing about the latest and greatest forum on the Magic Cafe, and this has happened since day one, is that they're allowed to speculate to method. And that normally leads to actually full-on exposure, which is something that I'm not really keen about the Magic Cafe about, but it happens. So you can pretty much get a good idea of what is happening with that trick and whether it would work for your act just by reading the entirety of the thread. So if you want to find something, and it's probably as good now as it was 15 years ago, 10 or 15 years ago. So you want to find something good, something unique, something different, something to put into your act that other people aren't doing. Go back 10 years. Go find a thread on the Magic Cafe latest and greatest forum. Look up the name of the trick, find it on Penguin Magic, see if it's still available, do a little bit of research, see if it's still available. If it is, read through the thread. If you think it's the sort of thing that would work for you, buy it. It's probably going to be as good as anything new that's come out these days, but very few people will have it or even be aware of it. The amount of times I perform something on Magic TV, on a Magic Live, and people go, I've never seen that before. Where did you get it from? Well, that's one of the reasons. I'm always looking into stuff that came 10, even 5, 6 years ago. Things in Magic change so much these days that it's good to look back. If you want something unique and something different in your act, that's one way to do it. Okay, so the next thing that I would suggest that is a good reason for joining the Magic Cafe and a good thing that you can use the Magic Cafe for is going and looking at the VIP section. Now, the VIP section doesn't really exist anymore. It does, but it's not used. The VIP section is just above the latest and greatest, and you'll see that it runs from year to year, month to month. And what happened is when the Magic Cafe first opened up, every month they had a VIP. And if you see the people on the Magic Cafe with a VIP, like I have, it means that they were bought in to do VIP. Basically, what happened is they had this VIP section, and every month they would basically have an open Q&A that month for that particular performer. So, and you've had some of the best mentalists and magicians of all time that have done this back in the day on the Magic Cafe. I did it, not when I came back to Magic, but years ago when I was doing the Wizard Product Review. I did a VIP thing on the Magic Cafe, and I spent a month answering everybody's questions. And the nice thing is those are all archived on the Magic Cafe. So you've got people like Scott Alexander, people that aren't even alive now, that have done these VIP sessions on the Magic Cafe. And you can go back, and they stopped doing them about 5 or 6 years ago, but they still update it. Like, it still looks like they're there, but they're not. So you can't actually see, they haven't done them for years, but you can see all of the ones. They're all archived from day one. So you can go into all of these old VIPs and you can go, right, okay, so that month was Max Maven. And then you can go and you can look at every single question that was asked to that special guest or that VIP that month, because all of the questions are kind of put in their own little forum. And you can go, oh, wow, that's a great question. I wonder what they said about that. And the advice that you get is gold dust. A lot of this advice is different. You won't have seen these people speaking about this stuff before, because it's not like it's a product that's actually being marketed to magicians. It's them being in a magic forum, just basically answering questions that are being asked for them by people that are asking the questions. So there's so much gold dust on there. It's really worth going through the old VIP sections. And if you find a magician that you've heard of, or you maybe even haven't heard of, go through the questions. And if there's a question, I did that over Christmas, and I was looking through the old VIPs, and I got some golden advice on stage management. Just some absolute, I can't remember who it was that I was reading now. I went on like a rabbit warren. I was binging all the VIP sections. And it's just amazing. Again, it's like a time capsule. A lot of the people that have been VIPs back in the day are no longer with us. And yet this information remains there and is available for anybody to go and look at it. Rather than buying a book, go and just read through the VIP section of the Magic Cafe. It's incredible. Okay, so this is a no-brainer, but I'm going to say it anyway, just in case you never go on the Magic Cafe and you aren't aware of this. The latest and greatest forum is a great place to find out about the latest tricks that come out in Magic. Generally, as a rule, so if the latest and greatest section is where all of the latest and greatest tricks get posted. And generally, as a rule, the newest tricks will just appear on there almost immediately. Somebody will start a thread about this particular trick. And generally, as a rule, the creator of the trick will come on there to answer questions. I know I do. I make it a point to go every day onto the Magic Cafe. Not every day, I'm sometimes busy, but I try to go on there as much as I can. And if people have got questions about my products, I will answer them to the best of my ability. because I look at the Magic Cafe as a place to connect with my audience, and my audience are the people buying my tricks. And if I've got a new trick come out and people have got questions about that trick, I want to be able to be the person that answers the questions. How am I the person that answers the questions? By being present in the places that questions are being asked. In this case, the Magic Cafe. So if you want to know about a new trick, go on to the latest greatest and go back the last 3 or 4 pages. There's a very good chance that the trick you're considering buying is in the latest and greatest forum, and there's a very good chance there's quite a few back and forward posts where people are speculating on method, and there's quite a good chance that the creators in there clarifying these questions or answering questions or clarifying statements that might have been made about a particular trick. So if you're kind of shopping through Vanishing Ink or Penguin or Alakazam and you're like, you know what, I like the look of that trick, there's no reviews, what shall I do? Go and check out the Magic Cafe. Go and check out the latest and greatest. Search for that trick. There's a very good chance it will pop up. And if it does pop up, then you'll be able to get all the information that you need. It's another really important use of the latest and greatest. And you don't see that in Facebook groups, because a lot of people are saying, well, Facebook groups have replaced the Magic Cafe. And in many ways they have. You look at the Magic Cafe, it is very antiquated. It is the worst, most garish color you've ever seen. It looks like it's from the 1980s. It really is a very old, out-of-date website. But even though it's old and out of date, I would say it's busier than a lot of the Facebook groups. Maybe not all of them, but it's busier than a lot of the Facebook groups. And because of the way that the forum is laid out, it's more searchable and information is easily accessible than a Facebook group. You take the Magicians Only, for example. Somebody posted something in Magicians Only the other day, and I went there the day after and I just couldn't find it. I just couldn't find it anywhere. That doesn't happen on the Magic Cafe because you've got an entire page of threads. So if you want to find out about a new trick, the Magic Cafe is absolutely a good place to go. Okay, so the final point, and I struggled with point 5, I can be honest with you. I really struggled with the 5th point. I think that the first 4 points were great. Really struggled making a 5th point, and it's like, this is a 5 by 5. I need 5 points. So this one maybe isn't going to float everyone's boat, but I'll give you as a reason. It is a great place to go if you want to have a good look at the arguments that have happened over the previous decades or so, because a lot of the time, this stuff plays out on the Magic Cafe. And normally, I'm involved in it to one way or another. I don't know how I get dragged into this stuff. Well, I do. I'm an idiot. But if there's ever been a controversial thing, and I get it all the time, I'll mention something like, oh, Red. And people will go, oh, what happened with Red? I'm new into Magic. I've not heard about it. And everybody will speculate and they won't know what's happened about it because they weren't there at the time. Or if they were, their memory's a bit cloudy. If you want to know what happened, it normally plays out on the Magic Cafe, even today. So, you want to know how the whole new guy thing happened with EDC to Michael Weber and Tim Trono? You want to know about that? Great. Go onto the Magic Cafe, type in EDC, you're going to get a 60-page thread. It'll take you all day to read it, but it's very enjoyable. It's like a novel. It's twists and turns. Oh my God, you know, Craig's done this video. Oh, new guy. Oh, new guy's Michael Weber. Oh my God, I can't believe new guy's Michael Weber. That's crazy. Oh, nobody saw that coming. Oh, now new guy and Craig Petty are arguing. Now this guy's coming in. Oh, now there's a new revelation. New guy wasn't just new guy. He was somebody else. Oh my, it's all on there. You want to know what happened with Red, which was the reason that I left the community about 15 years ago? You want to know the reason I left the community? You want to know exactly what happened when I ripped off Bob King's trick? It's all on there. Just search Red, Magic Cafe, Craig Petty. You're going to see the whole thread. You can see it all play out. You can see all the horrible stuff that people said about me. You can see me being defensive. You can actually see the moment that I said, fuck this, I'm leaving, goodbye, I never want to be in this community again. You can see my breakdown, live and in green. You want to go and check out the time that me and David Penn stopped the Wizard product review and said we were never going to make it happen again. You want to see the argument that went back and forth between Wayne Dobson and Jeff McBride and me and David Penn? That's in all its glory right there on the Magic Cafe. You want to go and see the back and forth between Russ Stevens and David Penn and myself and, oh my God, all of that drama? Go back and check it out. It's all there. Anytime you want to see all the Luke Dancy stuff with the quantum deck and all of the stuff that happened with the quantum deck with Luke Dancy and me calling Luke Dancy out and me making my video telling him he was an idiot, great, that's all on there. Any sort of controversial moment that's ever happened in the Magic Cafe, that's ever happened in the Magic community, if you've got the time and you really want to know what happened, generally as a rule, that stuff plays out on the Magic Cafe. It just does. So you want to know the history of Magic or the history of arguing on the Magic Cafe, then you can find out any of these controversial moments. You can find out by going back in time. And like I say, just like before, this sort of stuff, like everything else, it's like a time capsule for Magic. You can see stuff on there from years gone by, and it's amazing, really, that we have access to all of that information even now. So there you go, guys. That's another 5x5 in the bag. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, you want to see more videos like this, you know what you've got to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be back again tomorrow at 6 o'clock with the Magic Live. We're going to be back at 9 o'clock with another video. Don't know what it is, but we'll have another one. And I will see you again soon. If you haven't already done so, check out the Netrix. That's www.thenetrix.com. That's www.thenetrix.com. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.